going on the road and winning the Cy-Hawk game in Ames is never easy, but I'm sure the run game got brought up again. Just what did Kirk say about the run game?
He thought it was better. We asked him about running a lot of counters today because that's what they did. They ran a lot of counters and a lot more than they normally do. And he said, he joked about maybe we're becoming a counter team now instead of a inside zone, outside zone. But scratch where it itches, right? The old Hayden Fryism that you do what's working, and that was working for him. And they've, it's interesting that last caller brought up about just Caleb Johnson versus Jazz Patterson. And Jazz is just one of those downhill guys. He just thumps you downhill. That's who he is. That's what makes him who he is. So I thought that was interesting, just kind of just dovetailing off of that. But overall, they hit some plays. I thought it was better, but I also think there's a lot left on the table. There still is, and Cade admitted he'd missed some plays. I mean, he jokingly said he's going to have to go buy Deontay Vines dinner because he missed him on what would have been probably a touchdown. And, he missed Seth Anderson on a play. I thought he got hosed on his interception, but that worked out, right? Ball don't lie kind of moment where you turn around and Castro gets that interception, which ends up kind of being the margin in the game. But I kind of felt like something like that was going to happen where I was going to be able to do that. But I know people are frustrated with the offense, but a win's a win. A win's a win. That's, it would be, you can look pretty in a loss or ugly in a win. And I think most people will take ugly and win. Now, do you want to be pretty and win? That's ideal. And you might see that next week, given what I've seen from Western Michigan's score. They're giving up some points to Syracuse today. So, it's just overall a solid performance. They did what the Iowa defense does, which is bend but don't break, and they held out the Cyclones. And I thought the field goal block early was really a big deal because
huge
momentum. It kept Jack Trice was as quiet as I've heard it in a long time in this game, and it's just because Iowa kind of kept them at bay most of the day.
I'm just curious. Any talk about the challenges of that 3-3-5 and how that could have affected additional progress with the run game?
A little bit. He said it's a tough prep, and they threw some things at him. In fact, Cade kind of said that the counter wasn't really prominent in their game plan, but it was one of those, to borrow an old Hayden Fryism, scratch where it itches. It was working, so just keep going to it. And they did, and for the most part, it worked. The other times, maybe not so much, but there were a few plays where they got stuffed pretty bad. But overall, I thought it was about what I expected. This was what I expected today. I had 17-10 as a final, so I kind of thought that it would look a lot like this, and it did. It looked a lot like what I thought it would look like.
Yeah, I had Iowa 26-17, and here's the other thing I'll say, Tom. And I said this before you jumped on. We simplify the offensive performance today. They had a better, and I understand the 59-yard run was a part of that, but you cannot just take that away from the performance.
No, you can't. You can't take it away and say, well, they only average whatever on a. Can't. It's part of what they are.
No, it's fair to look at that and say, well, I'm concerned that Iowa wasn't more consistent away from that play, but that is a part of the game of the stat sheet, the box score. So you look at the stats for the game. They had a better rush average than they did a week ago. They ran for more yards than they did a week ago, and they went up against a better defense and a tougher place to play than a week ago. So with all that being said, I think they moved in the right direction, and I thought pass pro was solid again. And
that's 2 games in a row, and they didn't have that last year. They had 2 games in a row where it was good. So I'm, is there a lot for them to improve upon? Hell yeah. There's a lot to improve upon. I think defense is playing better better. I think they're improving. One of the fun moments was we asked Cooper DeJean if he was mad at X because X kind of knocked that easy interception away from him, and he just kind of shrugged it off. So that's just Coop. He's just built that way. So it
Well, you
was,
just knew that season opener. I'm guessing Phil. They spent some time in the film room this week, and he worked those guys hard because
yeah.
there was a lot of room for improvement from week one. They didn't play badly against Utah State, but they played a lot better today, and that it just did. I'm with you. It didn't surprise me one bit.
Hey, and one of the other things that maybe we haven't touched on enough, special teams were important today.
Really important.
Drew Stevens was really good. He's turning out to be one of the best. He's going to be one of the best kickers in the country, I think, this year.
Yeah.
And Troy Taylor dug him out of some holes today where they some questionable play calls, where everybody in the ballpark knew first down Iowa was going to run, and they ran and they got stuffed. And one play, I mean, remember they lost like 5 yards on the Caleb Johnson run. He just got stuffed right away. So, and they were just playing behind, and Troy Taylor's leg just kind of them at bay, and I think that was a big part of their success today.
I will say this regarding Torrey. You looked at his numbers, and his numbers were really good, really solid. And of course, they lean on him so much. He had some weird punts today, a couple of weird shank-like punts, but man, he gets those rolls.
He gets a roll every time.
Friendly rolls every time.
Yeah. It's weird. I don't know how he does it, but
let's talk about the momentum at the beginning of the game, getting that blocked field goal. You just there is I believe there's a psychological factor to getting on the board first. And
there is.
Iowa State gets on the board, makes it 3-0. We don't know how this game could have changed, but Iowa blocks that kick.
Jack Trice would have been jumping. It would have been jumping.
It was loud. It was loud at the beginning of that game, Tom. It was as loud as I've heard that stadium. The fans were ready.
They were ready to go, and but I thought they were really pretty quiet.
As the game went, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, there was just that third quarter was just weird, and second quarter was weird, where it was super quiet. When they're down 17-zip, it was weird. So, but a good win. It was fun. They've moved us around a few times in the post game here, and now we're in a room that's kind of right next to the locker room, so we got to hear everything that was going on in the locker room. And Emotional Kirk showed up. He was, the waterworks were going apparently in there from what the guys were telling us. So not a surprise, win 200, and everybody just expressed a great appreciation for him and the kind of leader he is for the program. And I think that's some value coming from those guys that play for him each and every weekend.
Absolutely. Yeah. Congratulations to Kirk on his 200th win. And what better of a place to do that than in Jack Trice. And beautiful day, good weather. I mean, it was warm, but it was comfortable. And we got a little bit of a sprinkle. And was in the stands, Tom, and got a little bit of a sprinkle towards the beginning of the game, but it was dry.
Okay.
We had some shade from the clouds, and a beautiful day for football, great day for tailgating. And for the most part, like you said, 17-0 late. They're up 20-3 late. Iowa basically controlled this game throughout, and absolutely good. Any win on the road is a good win, especially in a rivalry like this.
Yeah, and what's Kirk now, like 6-1 against Matt Campbell? And
incredible.
Yeah, the best coach in America, apparently, according to some of the national guys.
Tom, did you get a chance?
I'm being a jerk there, but
did you get a chance to talk with Matt?
No, we didn't get over to see him. So I'm curious. He had I tell you what, and you noticed it, the Bluebirds were out, and I've never really heard that at Jack Trice.
But let me tell you something.
Matt Campbell's there.
I thought it was very strange clock management. Very strange.
Oh, it's weird. There was no sense of urgency.
None.
They were playing their offense kind of like some of the frustrations that Iowa fans have with the Iowa offense.
Yeah.
It was very similar. It was just like there was no rush. There was no urgency. Now they kind of got bailed out. They get a late TD to cut it to one-score game, and there's plenty of time left. But
on a jump ball on fourth down.
Yeah.
I'm not taking away
Yeah.
from it, but it was a jump ball on fourth down, and
Yeah.
they didn't sniff the red zone on that final drive. So I don't know.
No.
The score shows a one possession game, but this was the clock management thing, and that's one criticism I've had of Kirk over the years. I don't know that we have a guy on staff that excels in understanding time and space and clock management. But man, that was bad from Iowa State, and letting the play clock run down to 1 when you're down 2 scores, and you're running the football, and you don't get clock stoppages now with first downs. So yeah, it was.
Well, I thought the 4th-and-1 run play was odd. They weren't having any success running the ball really, and you don't want to
Yeah.
waste it down. Maybe you could get something that's down the field a little bit, and it just seemed like they were. I don't know. That was an odd play call by Iowa State.